Welcome back to my channel. I'm Kayla with Kayla's Cricut Creations. Today I'm using my Cricut machine to make all kinds of labels to help organize around the house. From my office cords to my kids' toy bins, closets, and I'm saving the biggest project for last, our board games. I'm using several different types of labels, which include adhesive vinyl, the print and cut feature, and even the pen tool. I hope this gives you some organization ideas you can use, and let's get into the video. First, I'm going to be labeling these little cord storage cases. These are actually 4x6 photo storage cases that fit into a larger container. They're meant for photos, but they work perfectly for organizing other things too. I actually organized these in a different video a couple years ago, but I never got around to adding labels. I'll always forget which cord goes to what, and I have a few hard drives that I always forget what's on it, so labeling everything will be really helpful. First, what I'm going to do is grab my font. The font I'm going to be using is called Senti. You can use whatever font you want for this. The first one I'm going to type in is Mac Adapter. I'm also going to go over to my shapes and grab a square. I want to make this my guide to figure out my sizing. I'll go up to Operation and switch it to a guide. I measured the space on the organizers, and the max width it can be is 3.25, and the max height is 0.75. I forgot to hit unlock. So let me go back and do 3.25 for the width. Now I can bring this in here and figure out what I want to do for my sizing. These are pretty tiny, so I want it to fill up most of the space. It'll be easier to see it and easier to weed and cut out on the Cricut. Looking at the height, it's 0.542. I'm just going to make it an even 0.5. I typed in a few more and I made all of these 0.5 for the height as well. The problem with some of these is they're going to be too big. If I make this 0.5 for the height, over here you can see it's not going to fit inside of there. So what I'm going to do is just bring it in until it just fits inside the rectangle. Okay, that looks great. I'm just going to type out the rest. Okay, here's all the labels I'm going to be using. I had to adjust a few of the others as well. Over here, it places it so close together. I think I'm actually going to bring it out a little bit. It makes it easier for me to weed it out. You don't have to do this, but I just find it a little bit easier. For my cut setting, I'm going to select Premium Vinyl Permanent Glossy. I'm using the Cricut Explore Air 3 machine, but you can use any of the machines for these labels. I'm using white permanent vinyl for this. It just stays on a lot better than removable. It'll stay on for years and years, but if you do want to remove it, you can peel it away. I have two favorite permanent vinyls. The first is Oracal 651. I'll buy it from Michaels or Amazon. I also like StarCraft HD, I believe it's called. I buy it from 143 Vinyl. I'll leave links down in my description box for everything I'm using in this video. This font is so tiny, so it'll be difficult to weed. I want to give you a few of my best tips. First, I was going to weed out that entire sheet all together, and I was struggling with it. So to make that easier, I grabbed scissors and I cut out each different label separately. Next, I recommend using a pen tool and also a self-healing mat. I have some people tell me they struggle with the pen tool, but that mat really helps you to kind of pick up those pieces. You also need a lot of patience for this. I would recommend weeding it out really slowly because that prevents you from losing letters. Next, you can choose to do reverse weeding, which is what I chose to do for the rest of these to make it easier on myself. Instead of weeding right away, you place the whole transfer sheet onto that vinyl sheet. Then you take the backing of the vinyl away. Then you weed that excess vinyl directly on the transfer sheet. You can see it went a lot faster this way, and I wasn't struggling with losing letters as much. Since I did it this way, instead of weeding out all the vinyl, it's ready to go on that transfer tape, so I am going to apply it to the container. I like to clean the surface with rubbing alcohol first. It really helps the vinyl stick better because it's not sticking to dirt and things like that. Now I'm ready to line this up and apply it to the surface. This looks so nice, and I'm just so happy with how it's going to look. I'm just going to follow the same process for the rest of these. These cords are mostly for family pictures, work, or Cricut related things, but I do have a drawer in my house with just random cords. It's a mess, but these containers are too big for them. So I want to know, how do you guys organize your cords, because I really need to figure out a system for those. I'll put them all in the drawer and we'll see how it looks. I just love how they turned out. It's going to make finding the right cord or hard drive so much easier. Plus, it just looks so neat and organized, which of course I love. For my next project, I'm going to use these pocket sleeves that I found on Amazon to organize my son's closet. I'll be adding these to clear totes. What's nice about these is you can easily swap out the label if you decide to change what you're putting in your tote. I'm going to have the Cricut cut around cardstock to use as the sleeves, and it will write with the pin feature the label part of it. I thought I'd show you a quick glimpse at what his closet is looking like. This is what I'm going to be organizing in clear totes. I also recently started a second YouTube channel. It's all cleaning and organization. Since this is specifically crafting, I'm not sure if you'd be interested in it at all, but I'll put a link down in my description box if you want to check it out. As a mom with 3 kids, I am always cleaning, so I thought, why not start another YouTube channel? I also really enjoy organizing, and I just find it motivating watching others do that, so I wanted to create this second channel as well. I'm going to head over to Cricut Design Space and show you how I put these card labels together. I'm going to grab a square first. This is going to be my cardstock piece. I measured the inside of the pocket to see what size I wanted the cardstock to be. I decided on 5 inches for the width and 3.5 for the height. I'm going to keep this as a basic cut because I want it to cut my cardstock out just like that. Now I'm going to grab a font. I am going to select on Cricut. I'm going to go to this little filter button. I want a writing font since the Cricut's going to be writing out my labels. Then you can choose from any of these to have it write. It won't have those double letters. The one that I'm going to be using is Four Seasons Home Decor. The first thing I'm going to type in is Beyblades. Then I'll bring it over here and just make it fit inside my rectangle. I think that looks good. The next thing I need to do is highlight over both the rectangle and my font. Then I need to go up to Align Center. While both of those are selected, I'll go down to the bottom and attach it. That will make sure that when the Cricut writes, it'll write right in the center of the rectangle. Now I'm going to follow the exact same process for the rest of them. Okay, here they are. For Harry Potter and Magic Show, I did bring the words a little bit closer together. Okay, now I can click the Make button. My cardstock is 12 by 12, so that's perfect. It's going to cut it all on one sheet, which is nice. For my cut setting, I'm going to select medium cardstock. That setting works the majority of the time for me. You can also see it's telling me to load my black pen in clamp A, so I'll do that as well. I place my cardstock on the mat, and I always like to use a brayer tool. That just really helps press that material down so it doesn't shift around at all. I'm just adding my black Cricut pen to clamp A, then I'll hit the start button. The Cricut's going to draw first. For some reason, I just love watching the Cricut draw. I think it's a really fun feature, and I honestly don't use it enough. Once that's done, the Cricut will cut out the rectangles. I remove them from the mat, and they're ready to be added to the pocket sleeves. I bought these clear totes at Target. They're a really good price. There's some at Dollar Tree, but these are just a couple dollars extra and the quality is way better. The cards fit really well in the sleeve. These index cards were too big to go on the front of this tote, so I'm going to put it on the side. Just like with adhesive vinyl, I wanted to go in and clean the surface with rubbing alcohol. It's an adhesive on the back of these cards, so I think it'll just stick a lot better. I love the Cricut pen feature because the handwriting looks so much better than my own. My son just turned 11 and he's not into Pokemon or the magic show stuff anymore, but he still wanted to keep it, so I'll keep it for now, and then I can easily swap out that card when he's into something different. On the bigger totes, I put it on the front, but then I end up changing it later and putting it on the side also. These are done. I show me filling it all up in my cleaning video, but I will show you what they look like on his shelves. His closet was always such a mess before, so this will really help him stay organized, especially with everything labeled. I love that I was able to easily do this with the Cricut machine. Moving on to my 3-year-old's toys. I'm going to use the same pocket sleeves, but I'm going to use print and cut to put pictures on them. When she plays, she dumps all the bins out, of course, so having the picture on them will, I think, help her when she goes to pick things up. I'm going to grab 8.5 by 11 cardstock, then I'll go into Cricut Design Space and show you how I set all this up. I'm using the same pocket sleeves. I want to grab a square again, and I'm going to make it that same size. I'm going to duplicate this so I have 5. Now, like I said, I want to add images for this, so I found a few in Cricut Design Space and a couple from Creative Fabrica. I'll pull in the ones from Creative Fabrica first. I'm going to use these 3 animals for just one and this car for the other. Just want to make all of these smaller. I'm going to select all of them and then just drag them down. It always pulls the print and cut images in really large. Now I'm going to go over to my images in Cricut Design Space. I pay for access, so I'm able to grab any of these as well, and it's covered under access. I'm going to grab the blocks. I'll grab a princess. I'm going to grab another thing of blocks. For this one, I don't love the black behind it, so I think I'm just going to delete that. Now I am just going to make these fit inside the rectangles. For these, I'm just going to size them and kind of make them kind of a group. I think that looks really cute. I kind of think I want the princess to be the same color as the car so that the pinks match. I'm just going to grab my color dropper over here and select on the pink car. Then I'll come back over here. I'll go to advanced and I will just press in that hex code so those match. Next, what I need to do is make sure everything's centered. So to do that, I'm going to highlight over the rectangle and the image. Then I'll go to Align Center. While these two are selected, You can see in the layers panel we have the square and the building blocks. I'll also hit flatten. That's the most important part. Otherwise, it's going to cut out the rectangle and it's going to cut all these little pieces. But by selecting flatten, it will only cut out the rectangle piece. Okay, I followed the same process for the rest of these. I centered them, then I just flattened all of them with their rectangle. This is going to be on 8.5 by 11 cardstock. That is what my printer prints, so it will go to 3 different sheets. I'll hit send to printer. I'll hit next. I actually don't care about my bleed this time because it's cutting around white, but I will turn on my use system dialog, then I'll hit print. Over here, I'm just going to select best for my quality, and then I'll hit print. I'm using just a regular at-home inkjet printer. For my cut setting, I'll select medium cardstock. I place the sheet in the upper left-hand corner. I use the brayer tool to press it down. The order of the images are different than Cricut Design Space. A lot of times when I'm filming, I will make the whole project, then I'll go back and film the Cricut Design Space portion, so that's why it's different. These are going to be really cute with the images on them. I'll go into Design Space and follow the same printer options, then it will print my next sheet. I'll follow the same process for the other sheets. These are adorable. I'm hoping it makes it a little bit more fun to pick up, but we'll see. I'll add these on just like I did with the other ones. I wondered if my daughter would try to take the sheets out of the pockets. As you can see here, it's kind of hard to take out anyways with it right up against there. But she has not even tried. I don't think she knows she can take them out. But if you do this project and have a toddler, you could put tape on the top to keep them from taking those sheets out. Here's how these turned out. They are so fun. She does have some other toys. She has a basket full of Little People and Paw Patrol, and she also has a basket of Magnetiles in this room. She has dolls and a kitchen set in another area of the house. Toys just take over. For the next project, I'll be using these clear pencil pouches. I found these at Target. They go in and out of stock constantly. These are great for like markers or crayons, but what I use this for is I put things in it for my 3-year-old when we go out places. I'll clean this with rubbing alcohol, then I'll go into Cricut Design Space and show you how I put the design together. For this one, I'm going to grab an image over in Design Space. Just searching crayon. I'm going to use this one. I'll grab a text, and I am going to type in Emmy's Busy Kit. I thought that was cute. And for my font, I'll go over to System and search for BFC Autumn Harvest. I think I found this one on Etsy. I can link it down in my description box. Then I'm just going to kind of make this fit inside of here. I want to change this to black so it will match with the crayons. I'm also going to highlight over the whole thing. I'll select Align Center. It's going to bring Emmy's Busy Kit up too high, but I'm just going to use my bottom arrow key to bring it down. That way it is centered. I'm just going to eyeball the rest of it, and I think that looks good. Now I'm going to select over the whole thing. I am going to group it together. Now I'm going to grab a guide and make it the size of the pencil case. As you can tell, I like to use guides for my sizing. It's by far the easiest way for me. It just helps me visualize it too. The pencil case size is 8 by 5.5. I'll bring this over here and I'm just going to size it inside the rectangle. I will have to adjust it a little bit since I'll have a border on it. I think that looks pretty good. Now I'll go up to the Create Sticker button. You do need Cricut Access to use this tool. If you don't have it, you can accomplish the same thing with the Offset tool. As you can see here, I'm just creating my layer. Let me show you really quickly that you can hit Hide All Contours to fill in those spaces. So back in Create Sticker, I'm just going to do a die cut. I do want to do a border, and I'm just going to do custom border. I'm going to make it as small as possible. I think I'll do about there. Then I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller. I don't need to flatten this at all because I did the Create Sticker option, but if you are doing the offset tool, you'll want to flatten all the layers except for the guide together. I'll send this to my printer. I'll select best for my quality. Then I'll hit print. I'm using Nito labels, and this is the super glossy waterproof. There's honestly so many cut settings for printable vinyl. I am going to do printable vinyl white gray liner printing. I usually have good luck with that, but I am putting a laminate sheet on top, so I might have to have the machine cut it twice. When adding a laminate sheet, you want to cut it down to fit inside of the black registration lines. This is holographic, and the Cricut just really struggles to cut that. I like to peel back just a little bit of the backing and make sure it's all lined up. Then I press that down. I use the felt side of my squeegee tool to press that laminate sheet over the image. Since using that felt squeegee, I do not get bubbles at all, which is awesome. I didn't have it totally lined up because some of the holographic sheet was over that registration line, and I just peeled it away. This printable vinyl is waterproof, and I find that it doesn't smudge at all with regular use. However, with a 3-year-old, she spills a lot, and if there's going to be liquid directly on it, I found that it does smear, so that's why I decided to put a laminate sheet on top. The Cricut machine was cutting, and after it was done, I checked, and it didn't look like it cut through at all, so I did it again. After the second time, I realized that my blade wasn't down all the way in clamp B, so that was the problem. It wasn't even cutting. After one pass with the blade down, the cut was great for a kiss cut, so I was able to unload the mat. The holographic sheet gives it a really fun look. I was trying to decide which way to face it, but I figured with it open, I wanted it to be facing that way. Only problem I came across with this is after putting it on the pencil case, there were bubbles in it. I'm not sure how to fix that. Sometimes with just a big piece of printable vinyl like that, it will happen. My squeegee was able to get a little bit out, but not all of it. Let's fill up her busy kit. These are things that I bring to restaurants or my son's basketball games, things like that. This just turned out so cute. The last project is a big one, saving the best for last. I am going to tackle our game closet, which is a disaster. I emptied everything to look through it, and how do we have so many board games? I have no idea. My husband and I have been married for 12 years, so obviously we have collected a lot throughout the years. I picked out 10 board games that were in the worst shape, but also ones that my kids play with a lot, and I will be putting them in cases. You can see these board game boxes are beat up and not in great shape. I bought the cases on Amazon. I'll put a link down in my description box for them. I got this idea from Life with Lainey. I will put a link of her video down in my description box also. I measured the space for my font, and I think I did 0.5 for the height. I must not have saved my Cricut Design Space project for this because I can't find it, but it's very similar to the project at the beginning of the video. I'm using Cintiq for the font also. I'm going through and cutting out each board game name because it makes it so much easier to weed these tiny pieces. I didn't do reverse weeding this time though. I wanted to put all the labels on at the same time, and doing reverse weeding, it makes it a little harder to do that. I'm just going to clean these all at the same time, then I'm ready to add my vinyl. I'm just using transfer tape to apply the vinyl to the bin. I'm using white because I like how subtle it looks, but you can use any color, black, or you can make it fun colors also. I like to use the same transfer tape for a couple of them, but sometimes it gets where it's not sticky enough and you have to get a new sheet. You can use the squeegee to press the vinyl down while taking off the transfer tape, and I find that really helpful if it's not wanting to stick down. This is the fun part, adding everything to the little bins. These containers are pretty narrow, so you might have trouble with some games fitting, so you might want to test that out before you add labels. I was worried the trains weren't going to fit, but it did work. I always struggle with cards in games because they're all over the place in boxes, so I found these clear card cases on Amazon. The one I bought was a 24-pack. They are awesome. They work so well to put cards in. I used the card case for these, and I used a rubber band for the little square people. I actually did a video a while back, probably a few years ago, of adding games to these mesh zip bags. It did work well, and I'm keeping a few games in those, but I do really like these containers, so I'm switching a couple to these. I found these little zip baggies in one of the game containers that I wasn't using, so I decided to use those for these little cards. Battleship, however, did not fit, and I will show you what I ended up doing with those instead. I also have little mesh zip bags, and those were perfect for those little houses for Monopoly. Look how amazing this is looking. I am so excited about it. I took the vinyl off of these so I can use it for something else. I have these containers that I found at Michael's a while back. They're not as narrow, so there's more room for some of the bigger board games. I'm adding chess and Battleship to these, and eventually I'll go and add labels to them as well. Here's some card boxes that were in really bad shape. I added a lot more card games to the clear cases. I didn't add labels because you can clearly see what the game is right through it. I'm adding Jenga to one of the zip bags, so another thing I could go in with vinyl and label. I'm putting these back in the closet. Thanks so much for hanging with me today. I hope you got some fun ideas for organizing your own spaces with your Cricut. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want more Cricut inspiration, and let me know in the comments which project you're labeling next. See you in the next one.